Good morning, everyone. Today we are continuing our inquiry, and that is the inquiry of the Special Access Committee. We want to thank the committee members, all the witnesses who have appeared before, and all those who have assisted us in making this possible. We want to welcome those who are joining us by radio and on the various social media platforms. I want to also welcome our witnesses who are going to appear before us today. And I thank you for your cooperation and for arranging your schedules to accommodate these hearings. I wish to outline our housekeeping rules, which are as follows. These proceedings are recorded and forms part of the transcripts and records, and will also be within the report. They are broadcasted on Radio Montserrat and through social media platforms. We are therefore asking of our witnesses that you speak clearly. The committee will adduce information or evidence, and we will also ask questions. Witnesses, you are asked to clarify any questions which you do not understand. You may advance suggestions, solutions, or recommendations. The committee is not here to answer questions. However, if there's a question that a witness may wish to ask, we will record this and seek an answer where it advances the work and the purpose of the committee. Witnesses and their organizations may be asked to provide documentation or further information to assist the work of the committee. Witnesses may also refer to their legal attorney for advice or their institutions on answering questions. The committee reserves the right to recall witnesses and request further information in its various forms. Once again, welcome. Good morning, Mrs. Mulcare.
A pleasant good morning to the panel and to those listening, whether locally or in the diaspora.
Can you please give, for the record, your name and the organization that you are representing?
My name is Nyota N.C. Mulcare. I'm the president of the Montserrat Civil Service Association, and that's the organization I will be representing today.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Mulcare. Mrs. Mulcare, as you may be aware, the committee is here to look at access, both air and sea, and the challenges that confront us at this time, with plans to make recommendations. We are aware that there were some issues with respect to security and in which you became involved as president of the union. Can you please explain for us? And that is in relation to night security in particular. Can you explain to us the union's concern and what, if anything, did the union do to address this?
Okay, so just to give a little bit of background where it began. In September of 2022, the Human In September 2022, the Human Resource Management Unit officials held discussions with the airport staff, and that was without the presence of the night security, on the expected changes with regard to airport security, that is the downgrading of the airport facility and the abolishing of the night security officer positions. In October 2022, they then held further discussions of the night security officers about implications of these changes and the early exit benefits for the night security. They were also verbally informed, and they also indicated to them that they will be absorbed into the system if the abolition was enacted. Many concerns were raised by the officers during these meetings, and it was expected that they would have been addressed or taken into consideration, and that official communication would follow in short order, but there was no official communication. In late March of 2023, the officers were verbally informed that their last day of work would be the 31st of March 2023, but the instructions were subsequently recalled. Then on Friday, 26 May 2023, the security officers were informed that the last working day for the night security would be on 31st May 2023. And as at 1st June 2023, there will be no more night security at the Johnny Osborne Airport facility. They were also informed that the supervisors of the daytime security would be expected to travel to the Braids police station to collect the keys in the mornings and open the airport, and lock up the airport in the evenings and travel back to the Braids police station to deliver the keys. On 30th May, the night security officers were invited to attend a meeting with the Human Resource Management Unit carded for 31st May 2023. On realization that the situation had become very grave, they contacted the union for representation to ensure the presentation of their rights and interests were observed. On 31st May 2023, the night security officers submitted official communication indicating that they would be exercising their right to be accompanied by a union representative, but the meeting was cancelled due to this, denying them the right to representation. In the late afternoon of 31st May, and I would like to point out on Workers' Appreciation Day, the officers received official communication from the Human Resource Management Unit for the first time, informing them that the Johnny Osborne Airport had been downgraded from a Tier 1 facility to a Tier 2. The communication further advised that the Honorable Deputy Governor, on the recommendation of the Public Service Commission, had approved that the position of night security officer be abolished effective 31st May 2023, and that their services with the government of Montserrat be terminated on this basis effective the same date. The officers were also informed of their proposed remuneration package as a result, and thanked for the services they had provided to the Ministry of Communication, Works, Labour and Energy. This matter became of serious concern to the MCSA and the wider Montserrat community, and some of the questions we had, and I would also indicate that I would have written to the governor on these issues. My letter was dated 1st of June. It was emailed and hand-delivered. And as I speak today, 2nd October, I have not received a response. Yes, I do. I can provide a copy of that letter to you.
Thank you. We'll wish to have a copy of that
letter. Yes, I can provide
a
copy of the letter. So, matters which were of concern were, firstly, that the night security officers were made, the position was abolished, and they were the services were terminated from the public service. However, since with much communication, they have been since re-employed into the public service in different positions. However, the questions that we had were if the matter was properly researched, because we found that to ask the daytime security to lock up, some are female, some are male, there's a heavy roller door which could not be manned or managed properly by some of these officers. This would also mean that they would have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to an additional hours, those who are working in the morning, to take these keys, to collect these keys from the Braids police station and to come in to open in time to ensure the proper running of the airport facility, as well as those who work in the evening would have, because they finish work at 6, they commence work at 6 a.m. and they end work at 6 p.m. So it would mean that those who finish work at 6 p.m., and especially now that their peak periods, where you have late flights, you will have the immigration, customs, and the airline working extra hours, and they will have to wait around in order to lock up the airport. There's also the supposes issues for the general security of the airport. The CCTV cameras are not working, so without night security, that even poses a greater threat to the facility. We also questioned about the alternative methods to monitor security. It also came to light that the airport facility would be exposed to the possibility of theft, vandalism, terrorism and sabotage, and other legal activities, and safety hazards. These heavily affect the membership because, sure.
Safety hazards. When we speak of safety hazards, can you expound on these a little bit more for us?
Okay, so if, for instance, someone would have done something to the facility overnight, whether it may be theft, vandalism, the officer who is coming in would not have had the night security to hand over this information So in terms of if it's a bomb being planted, they would be exposed to it. What would clear them that they were not the one who would have done this to the facility, vandalized the facility? Because this can be extended to the aircraft that are currently parked at the airport to be compromised. Yes. Okay, so to continue, they were also concerned about the regulatory violations and that form part of some of what I would have mentioned, and the reputational damage, that is the concern about safety, leading to the decreased confidence in the airport's ability to provide safe and secure travel experiences. Since the night security post has been abolished, we also have the residents of Drummond, St. John's, Davy Hill, Bazzies, and other environs often being disturbed or awakened during the tender hours of the morning, that's 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., by the constant wailing of the crash alarm at the John A. Osborne Airport.
Sorry, say that again, please.
What's that, please?
Let me repeat. Also the residents of Drummond's, St. John's, Davy Hill, Bazzies, and other environs often being disturbed or awakened during the tender hours of the morning, that's 12 a.m. to 6 a.m., by the constant wailing of the crash alarm at the John A. Osborne Airport. The crash alarm. Crash alarm. It's relating to, it's an alarm at the airport that it's basically controlled by the fire and service rescue team. So because there is normally the night security, if that goes off, will take it off. And I will say that last night was one such example where I myself, last night as in the first, well, it's early morning, so it's the early morning of the 2nd of October. So once it goes off, it doesn't come off until 6 a.m. when the airport opens and the staff comes to work.
Records, you would have heard that yourself?
Myself.
And if you're comfortable, and where do you reside?
I live in Bazzies.
And are you able to tell us about what time it started?
I can't give the exact time it started, but as you turn in the middle of the night, I went to bed at a little after 12 this morning, and it was there.
Okay.
So I hear it mostly in my bedroom.
Just around 12.
And when I got up at 4:30 a.m. this morning, it was still going. So as you turn in the night, you hear it. When I was in my full wakened state this morning, it was still going. And it went on until after 6, when the staff would have arrived at the John A. Osborne Airport this morning, 10th October, 2nd of October, 2023.
You may not be able to, but if you can, how would you categorize its frequency? Is it often, now and again? The fact is happening, just to get an idea of frequency.
Frequent enough to disturb your rest.
Okay, to disturb the
Yes, to
residents
disturb your
of
rest.
there, yes.
I'm asking a different question, but in relation to what you've said so far. You said earlier that the downgrading or the abolition of night security came as a result of the downgrading of the airport, as explained by whom?
That was explained by way of letter to the night security. And some officers in their meetings would have been told by management of the downgrade, of the possibility of a downgrade.
Was it explained to them or to you, the connection between downgrading and the abolition of night security?
No, it wasn't explained.
Until today, you have not had an explanation?
Haven't had an explanation, no response to my communication to the governor. As I speak today, 2nd October 2023.
And when did you make that communication to the governor?
My letter is dated to the governor on the 1st of June 2023.
Was there an acknowledgement of receipt?
Absolutely no response, neither an acknowledgement, nor a meeting, nor a response to my communication.
Did the governor communicate to you via the deputy governor or any other?
Absolutely no communication. None whatsoever, by any means.
No, I know you can't necessarily speak totally for the security workers, but you'd have spoken with them. Are you saying that they too have not been able to get an answer as to why the downgrading affects having night security?
No, they haven't received any form of explanation.
Okay. Is the role of security at the airport any less than that of the role of security at ZJB or Communication and Works or at night or even the Agriculture Department?
It shouldn't be. And as I would have said in my communication, several communications, it's even more important because it houses some of the most valuable equipment owned by government of Montserrat that should be important enough to have security or secured properly or ensure that it's not vandalized or stolen in any way.
I remember you making a public statement on this matter, and I'm reliably informed that you asked as many as 25 questions publicly.
Correct.
Have you received any responses or answers to those questions either directly or have you heard them presented to the public in another forum other than communicating with you?
Absolutely none.
Would you happen to have that list before you?
Yes, I do.
Could you kindly read the list of questions for me, please?
Sure, I can. 1, was this matter properly researched or analyzed prior to such a decision? 2, who gave the authority to downgrade the John A. Osborne Airport? 3, what are the implications of this downgrade on the traveling public to connect to international airports? 4, with 9/11 in mind, how safe is it to now travel from the John A. Osborne Airport? 5, what role did the Air Safety Support International, known as ASI, play in arriving at this decision? Was it published in ASI's OTAs, that is the Air Safety Support International Overseas Territories Aviation Requirements, regarding this downgrade or the removal of the security posts? 7, was there a notice to Airmen NOTAM published informing of these significant changes to the aerodrome or its SRS services. 8. Has ASI notified ECA or TTCAA who publishes the NOTAMs? 9. You are in charge of security. Have security issues become fragile or fallen apart under your watch? 10. Have alternative methods to monitor security been made and published in the Montserrat Gazette? 11. Even though the John A. Osborne Airport is small in size, it is the single most expensive asset the island possesses. It contains millions of dollars of specialized air traffic, meteorology, and security equipment, which are essential to the daily expected safe operations of the airport facility, not to mention the actual plane that sits on our tarmac each night. Ministries such as MALHI, that's the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands, Housing and Environment, and MCWLE, Ministry of Communication Works, Labor and Energy Headquarters, have full-time security officers ensuring the safety of the premises both day and night. Was this risk carefully thought through by you? How can this facility, which contains equipment valuing over millions of dollars, be unmanned without proper security measures in place? How will the air traffic control officers feel safe to operate such sensitive equipment to ensure that the lives of the traveling public are preserved or safe? 13. When electricity goes in the middle of the night and the generator does not kick in, who will be there to press that button to turn on the generator so that the security system on the doors which don't have locks be reactivated to close the doors? Or will the airport be left wide open for all and sundry to stroll in? 14. How will these issues affect the airport insurance policy if there's one? Was the insurance company informed of these changes? 15. Is this a ploy to leave the airport without night security so that perhaps there will be a mishap to aid a company or companies or entity or entities who operate at the airport to claim insurance or sue for damages? 16. Was the abolition of the post to cut the pay of the security officers because some thought they were getting too much money for working a 12-hour shift? 17. When will efforts be made to immediately re-employ the night security or absorb them back into the system? It is your aim to leave these individuals without a job? 18. Should the shift supervisors be responsible for collecting and delivery of keys from the Braids police station to open and lock up the airport? How will they get to and from the station? 19. Why was the union excluded from these discussions for the change in workers' employment conditions? 20. If there is no night security, who will search the incoming shift to ensure that they are clean? That is, not carrying any forbidden goods or weapons. 21. With COVID-19 in mind, how will the airport facility be cleaned and sanitized in a timely manner before its opening and the arrival of outgoing and incoming passengers or even individuals who work at the facility? 22. For a CCTV system to be effective, it must be manned 24/7. Who will now undertake this task? 23. In the event of an emergency, an enormous fire. In 23, in the event of an emergency, an enormous fire, given the fact that large bushfires are prevalent on Montserrat, or a house fire, it will require immediate access to the fire tender housed at the John A. Osborne Airport. This fire tender is also the only foam-capable truck and is required if there is a fire at the Delta Bulk Station or any gas station. Any delayed response to facilitate access can literally mean life or death. How will the fire department be able to gain easy and quick access to the fire tender at the airport to bring a situation such as this under control? 24. If there is a freak storm, especially now it's the beginning of the hurricane season, how will the equipment be secured? How will the necessary meteorological observations or processes be undertaken during this time? 25. It is the aspirations of the people of Montserrat to have the economy rebuilt to attract visitors or tourists and investors to boost the economy. The John A. Osborne Airport is the premier and only entrance and exit to Montserrat. With these issues facing us, how will this be achieved or improved the already grave access issues? And I put a plug in here to say that this communication was also copied to all members of cabinet, all members of parliament, the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Communication, Works, Labour and Energy, the airport manager, the Overseas Territories Directorate, and the Air Safety Support International, ASI.
Thank you very much. Any questions on that?
Mr. Romeo, I've given you the floor. Will you please continue?
I see. Thank you very much. I have no further questions on that matter. Perhaps I should ask another. The committee was able to go into the community and get a feeling of their concerns and suggestions. And you took a very good approach by consulting the hundreds of public servants you represent. Can you share with us some of the main concerns that were raised by those you represent regarding access in general?
Okay, so if I may begin with the airport facilities first. The general consensus is our airport facilities need urgent upgrades as building is in a dilapidated state.
Mrs. Mulcare, just for the other members of the committee, we understand that this information was circulated to one member of the committee and it was not sent through to the clerk.
Which communication is that?
The one that we just had previously. Is this one also circulated?
As I previously stated, this communication was previously circulated to all members of cabinet, all members of cabinet, of parliament, including yourself, Mrs. Hector.
What I'm saying, Mrs. Mulcare, when we sit as a committee, I sit as a committee not to bring the information in that other capacity.
Okay.
So as a committee coming here this morning, are you saying that is what he had before?
I can't state what he had before, but I can say I did not circulate any document after Mrs. Dr. Baker would have communicated to me.
Okay.
Yes, so I can't speak to what Mr. Roman would have had.
Okay.
But I can confirm that when I received the invitation from Dr. Baker, I have not circulated any documents.
All right. This one you're going to circulate to us?
I can, yes.
All right, with you.
And for the record, the questions you just read are from a public statement.
Yes, I made it publicly.
Which
I also published that document.
which I received, requested and received just a few minutes ago through research. So it's a public statement. Thank you.
Yeah.
Continue.
Sorry, can I just want to quickly interject here. I know you moved on to providing information that was provided by public officers. Now, Mrs. Dorset explained it very clearly. Now, what we're seeking is information akin to expert information that you would have in relation to the functions of the committee. Now, in terms of the information that was provided by public officers, I'm not certain if you were going to read out their responses, but I just wish to put it on record that in that regard, what the approach the committee has adopted there when it comes to what we deem as individual experiences and opinions, we have asked that that information be submitted directly to Mrs. Baker, the clerk of the assembly. Now, of course, that is going to be relevant to our report, but we prefer to take an approach where, as opposed to putting you on the spot and reading out what they have said, that information be provided to Mrs. Baker with the assurance that in the preparation of our report, we'll look at all that information and seek to include it as an aspect of our final report. I hope that's clear.
That's clear. I wasn't going to read out everything. I was just going to give a summary. So, do you prefer me to submit the documentation or give a summary?
We will allow you to give a summary, but we also would like if you submitted
I'll do that, yes.
as much of the information as you can, if not all, to Mrs. Baker.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
Give the
Okay,
information, Mrs.
so
Smith.
the general summary is that the airport facilities need urgent upgrades as building is in a dilapidated state to accommodate larger aircraft and increase passenger traffic. Inadequate facilities impact the overall passenger experience and limit the potential to attract tourism and investments. The upgrading of the airport infrastructure is essential for economic growth and convenience of travelers and airport staff.
Continue, Mrs. Moore.
We also received comments on that the airport facilities itself does not have a kitchenette and a lounge room to allow the daytime security staff to sit and eat or wash their dishes. They are forced to use the bathroom sink in the departure lounge, which is, of course, unsanitary and inhumane. The administrative building poses many health risks for staff. It's termite infested. It also contains lizard and rat droppings, which is unhealthy, and there's mold, visibility that the roof is leaking, and just a summary. And then for passenger issues, basically unavailability of flights, unable to get luggage, not enough capacity to move freely.
That's for the passengers?
That's a summary.
Passengers
They're looking themselves now as
or-
passengers, yes.
Okay.
As passengers.
Okay.
Yes. Cargo delivery, timely and efficient cargo delivery is vital for businesses and households. There are delays, damages, high costs associated with cargo delivery impact, the availability of goods, increase in prices, and affect the overall quality of life for our residents. But as stated before, I'll submit the entire document so you can put a summary. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. In terms of the ferry services, large numbers showed preference to the ferry service for great and easy access to Montserrat and better luggage and seating capacity for large numbers of travelers. Persons commented on the recent issue of not being able to enjoy a football game that was supposed to be held here in Montserrat. Persons spoke about losing financially. In terms of financially, some persons who've gotten catering jobs on the side, you know, can be able to sell some of their little confectionaries and stuff like that, yeah? Taxi drivers and so on. Yeah, so yeah, he affected the community in that way. Some person complain about coming to Antigua and not being able to connect in time to the 5 p.m. flight, so they have to overnight and have to spend. So the financial came in that aspect as well, having to pay for taxi in Antigua, hotel in Antigua, meals, etc., which they could have used that money to do other things or spend in Montserrat, right? That was also a comment. So generally, they see the ferry service as a lifeline to the citizens and diaspora of Montserrat, connecting easily to neighboring islands and the world beyond. Inconsistent airline schedules, high ticket prices, and unreliable services not only impede the ability to travel, but also affects the economy. Many members rely on these affordable ferry services for commuting, trade, recreational, and tourism-related activities. For docking and vessels and landing of airplanes, they saw that the infrastructures were outdated and insufficient facilities, making the docking of vessels and landing of airplanes challenging, affecting both passenger and cargo transport. So they asked for the investment in modernizing these facilities for the essential and to facilitate smooth operations. In a nutshell. Okay. So in summary, our members, along with the entire Montserrat community, bear the brunt of these access-related issues. It affects our ability to travel for education, healthcare, and leisure. It affects businesses, limiting their growth and sustainability. It affects the economy, hindering investments and job creation. It affects our spirit as we continuously face challenges in connecting with the world. So it is urged that the authorities consider the plight of the membership and Montserrat at large and invest in reliable ferry services, modernizing airport and port facilities, and ensuring affordable and accessible air travel, and not just infrastructure improvements. So basically, these investments are for the future of Montserrat and its people, and we need a comprehensive, sustainable, and inclusive approach to address these issues and unlock the full potential of our island. Basically, in a nutshell. As I said before, I will submit the documents to the clerk. Yes. Yes.
Yes, that would be helpful. I keep forgetting my mind.
Yes.
Anything else? Any other challenges that are faced by persons working within the airport?
Any other challenges?
Sorry, any other challenges that the union would have captured in respect of your persons working, your membership working at either?
It's just generally that the infrastructures need to be updated. We've also had one member who got injured on the job and requested footage to prove the case and was told some 7 months after that the CTV was not working. And to date, the individual has not had any refund or assistance with medical expenses. And once an employee gets damaged on the job, they are unable to submit claims for insurance because the employer is responsible for those charges and funds, right?
In terms of meteorology and the security staff, are there any challenges that have arisen with respect to demands and staff in terms of shortages? Do they have enough?
No,
So
there is
that-
currently a shortage in staff at the airport. In terms of security, they've since hired some new, but it doesn't solve the night security issue.
Okay. In addition to that, I am also concerned because we would have had evidence from security staff. Regrettably, we were not able to broadcast at that time concerning the demands on the few and what risk that can lead to in terms of security. Have you had that?
Okay, so
that
basically,
raised?
they would have expressed that, you know, if you're overworked and you're tired in terms of giving incorrect information or not able to fully read what the instrument is saying and give proper reports to the public or to safeguard us in any way in the operations of their duties, it can pose a risk to both the staff and the general traveling public.
That's what I wanted clarity on, to see if any of that has been brought to the attention of the union.
One further question regarding night security. You said earlier that when the security come in the morning, they normally would be checked by the security at night to see that they're not carrying anything untoward in getting into the airport. How about, I would expect there will be daily checks to see whether the equipment at the airport have been tampered with overnight. How does not having night security affect the responsibility of staff who then would have to account for damages they may not know have transpired or may have transpired during the day, but how does one determine, how does one measure how the lack of night security at night affects security in general of the equipment and the operation of the airport?
Yes. I did speak to that earlier when I indicated that That was one of their main concerns, because now you're coming into work, and if something happens, they really can't give an account. The most they can say, or if something happens during the day, they really can't give an account of why it transpired, or if anyone came onto the compound. Like I said before, the CCTV cameras are not even working, that they can go back and check to see what would have happened during the night hours.
Would you happen to know why the cameras are not working?
Unfortunately, I don't. The most I can say, they have malfunctioned. And that has been almost a year.
So they may have been fixed since you last.
Perhaps. But I will say that the incident with the officer took place in November of 2022. And 7 months after, she was informed that they were not working. And there have been other incidents where they would have realized that the cameras were not working. So if they're fixed, that would be a plus. But as far as my knowledge goes, they're still in the same dilapidated state.
Any other? Well, I know you've given us a comprehensive account, but just to make sure we've covered all our bases. Is there any other particularly security issues that you wish to highlight?
One that is of great concern to the current security staff is that since the night security positions have been abolished, there have been efforts by those of high authority to unilaterally alter the original terms of contract for some workers. And that is to impose or force the opening and closing of the airport by some workers. I would have highlighted that earlier on. However, to go on, they have been receiving threatening communications stating that if they don't comply with these instructions which have been set out by the governor and deputy governor, they will face disciplinary actions. And this collection of keys and delivering of keys does not form part of their current job description. It's outside of their remit.
And you pointed out that, just for clarity for the records, in having to carry out those functions, it also means that their working hours have been extended.
And that's what when I refer to the getting up at 4 o'clock early and going beyond 6 p.m., that was the basis when I made that comment, yes.
And just for clarity, because although COVID is not as overt, let me say as overt, the cleaning of the premises, you also spoke to that. Are you able to tell us when cleaning actually occurs? Because after the night flight comes in, not the night flight, sorry, the last flight. Please apologize, not the night flight, the last flight, the last flight that comes in. What happens after that? What is the protocol for cleaning the facilities, if you are able to answer?
The only thing I can say on that is the cleaners would have left, and then they would not have gotten access to the building until it reopens the next morning.
Okay. Prior to the change, what was the protocol, if you're able to tell us, for cleaning the facilities?
So they would have been in early because the night security would have been there to let them in early to start this cleaning.
I see.
But you no longer have night security that they can come in early and do whatever, clean up, sanitize, and so on.
All right, okay. So again, the other officers who had not been given the remit in the original contract for opening, now need to get in perhaps and to allow them to come in? Are they allowed to come in under that
They
watch?
work for 6 a.m. and they would come for 6 a.m.
Okay. And our workers are all now coming in. And our first flight, if you're aware, if you're
So
not,
they're there for 6 a.m.
yes,
They're there for 6 a.m.
and the rest of the compound is ready there for 6 a.m.
They're there for 6. They open for 6 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah. They're supposed to open for 6 a.m. So so they get to work for 6 a.m. They get to work for 6 a.m. and they leave at 6 a.m. So there are lots of things that are not being done currently because of that, the missing of the night security position.
Yes, yeah. Okay. So it's not only a COVID, but a hygiene issue.
Yeah.
I have a totally different question for you, Mrs. Mulcare. Public servants are often challenged with having information that they may hesitate to share because they fear that voluntarily sharing such information could lead to retribution. We have permanent secretaries appearing before us. We have other public servants appearing before us. Can you tell us of any mechanism, any whistleblowing protection that is in place that will enable them not just to answer questions we ask, but to freely volunteer information which may not be pleasing in the eyes of or the ears of those who may become, how do I say, negatively affected by the sharing of such information? What whistleblowing protection is there for public servants to speak freely, not just before this forum, in general? Let's say the security were aware of something that's not being, exposed in this forum or any forum. Is there somebody they can do? Can they come to you? Or is there whistleblowing protection in general? Are you protected by whistleblowing protection?
So let me say there is no whistleblowing protection laws that I'm aware of. However, they can come to the union for assistance, which many would have done in the past, and we will normally take that course of action to do our best to address whatever issue that they're facing. There are also the Complaints Commission, which they can seek assistance. We, anyone of the public, can seek assistance.
If I may, following up, but from another perspective, have you received any concerns from any of your members about appearing before this committee on the same basis of job security?
So, I haven't received any communication saying they're afraid to appear before the inquiry. However, prior to me collating some of the information and using some of the documentation that I would have presented on behalf of some of the membership, I would have ensured that I would ask their permission in order to use this information. And a few would have indicated that they would prefer not to due to fear of being victimized or being terminated or harassed on the job.
Honorable Romeo.
No further questions. Madam Chair.
Is there anything of your own volition you wish to share with the committee before you leave? Any recommendations, suggestions? You're
The only thing I would say, I would really hope that the efforts of the witnesses will not go or be tossed on unfertile soil, that it would be used to improve airport and ferry facilities, and that we're not just going through another meaningless exercise, to put it that way. Yeah? So we hope that it will bear much fruit.
Thank
That's
you.
for me.
Thank you very much.
You're most
Mulcare,
welcome.
And I will keep that one. Yes, and that is our wish too. And thank your membership for sharing. Do not forget to share the
I'll send that to
documentation
Mrs.
to the clerk. Yes, please, yes. And anything else that you may come across,
Okay.
do not hesitate if you think it can be useful to the committee.
Thank you.
We will rise for a few minutes, 10 minutes. Radio Montserrat and our technician, the committee will rise for 10 minutes. Again, thank you, Mrs. Mulcare. Good morning again. We are now resuming our sitting. We wish to call Mr. Isles. Will you please come, sir? Please have a seat. Good morning, sir. Thank you for volunteering to share with this committee your views on the matter of access, and we will ask you for the record to give your name for the record, as well as the area that you're representing.
My name is Rupert Isles, and I'm here representing Selsie Limited and things on the island that I think that the entire country would like to know about, or things that is happening outside that we can help or can help us. So I am here with
As a private sector,
as a private
businessman.
sector.
Thank you very much.
And I would like to say, first of all, I have about 4 things to do it when it comes to when it comes to access. And the first is that to let you know that there is a need outside for millions of tons of fill at a certain island. And I have spoken to these people and told them that
Mr.
we have...
Isles, we cannot talk about these people. We need to give specifics. We wouldn't know who these people are.
Well, I cannot call names or anything like that now. There's a corporation that is looking for millions of tons of fill.
Okay, so you're spoken
To the corporation, yes.
Thank you for clarifying that you're referring to the corporation.
Yes.
Yes.
And
That's interested in doing what?
getting fill to fill a whole area, millions of tons of fill.
Okay.
And I told them that we have Bramble Airport that is covered with fill. And I can talk to the government about them excavating all this fill and barge it out to where they want it. Of course, they look at it through satellite, and I spoke to Dr. Sammy concerning it, and he's supposed to get back to me so I can get with the people to let them know whether it is possible or not. He said we have to speak to the governor, and I am waiting on him to call me to know when is the next meeting, so that I don't keep these people in limbo. Is you or is you ain't? Because I see that it would be wise to clean Bramble Airport up if we can get it done and get it done for free, or just to leave it there abandoned. That is one topic that I would like to talk about.
When you clean that Bramble Airport, what do you propose after that?
Well, that's what we need, a runway. We don't have a runway. We need a runway. And whether it's going to be back at Bramble or someplace else, we need a runway. And I have pictures here of what it looks like now with all the fill in it. Do you want to see what it's like here? I can leave these, yes, but you can see what Bramble Airport looks like and where it is and everything. So we can clean it up, and it's going to take a long time, but yet it's better that we do something than to do nothing. I will say to the congregation here that Britain will never ever build us other runway on Montserrat. So people are talking about runway, and I heard Nigel Harris speaking about getting planes to fly more passengers in, and but this and even the gentleman Meade is talking about getting Winnie to come in. But what we need is a runway. We do not have a runway. And I can tell you by letting you know that some time ago I brought the Disney Cruise Line people into Montserrat to look at the island and to see what they can help us to do, because they wanted to come here badly. And they flew into Tortola. They left their jet in Tortola. They chartered a flight from Tortola to Anguilla. They left that plane there, charter another flight from Anguilla that can land in Montserrat. It's to show you what people have to go through to get to Montserrat. There's another company, Royal Cruises, that is going to be spending $5 billion in St. Thomas. Let me repeat. They're going to be spending $5 billion in St. Thomas. So I went down and I happened to get with the people, and I showed them a project that I have for Fox's Bay. And man, they're excited about it. And they want to fly in here and look at it for a day and fly out. So I told them, no, you would have to fly into Antigua, leave your jet there, and then I'll have the helicopter all ready and waiting for you to fly you over to Montserrat. You can see the side. That turned them off. Turned them off completely. They said, well, we have to see some people in the Bahamas and then to New York, so we'll get back to you sometime. They haven't gotten back to me yet. They're finished with it. Now, they're going into Antigua this week to check the depth and to do depth soundings and so of their port and to look around, because they're going to be bringing their ships into Antigua. This week, they're going to be doing that. You see where this runway puts us out of business completely? And like I said before, Britain will never, ever build another runway for us in Montserrat. We would have to do it ourselves. And it can be done easily.
Before you continue, I just want to ask a question in relation to what you've said so far, said before. You spoke about clearing the Bramble Airport for future use. Is that correct?
Yes.
I believe you were part of an association that was actually promoting clearing it just in case there had to be an emergency landing. Could you explain that to us, please?
Well, we at the CRM,
Correct.
is the corporation, private, and it is...
Can you tell us what?
CRM is the Committee for the Redevelopment of Montserrat. Committee for the Redevelopment of Montserrat. And we thought that we should, if we can get the airport cleaned up, and in case that there's an emergency, there'll be somebody, the plane can just switch off to Bramble and land there, than to have to try to fly to Antigua. We are thinking all that. I mean, I'm not a pilot, but maybe that our pilots can intervene in something like that. But that is one thing. Here we are with an airport already drawn up and designed for Old Kwa. I'm sure all of you heard of Old Kwa. This is the runway here on the plan. Okay? And we wanted to build Old Kwa even before this Gerald's Airport was built. We already have permission from all the landowners. It's about 8 landowners. And we haven't...
Mr. Selsie, are we still referring to CRM?
Yes.
So this is their plan? This was a plan? Are you sharing this with us?
Yes.
Yes? Thank you.
You can see that.
Okay.
Okay? And we have already had all the landowners agreed for us to build the airport in Old Kwa. They already signed, documents are signed. Our attorneys, Mr. What's his name? No. Lawyer Allen, have already done everything for us. And it's private, we can do that. As we speak, Jim Bass, who heads the group, is now in Massachusetts with all the Montserrat committees asking for help to get monies for us to get the preliminaries done. $250,000, I think, is what the company Leading Edge charges us because we're non-profit to do all the preliminaries.
EC or US dollars?
US dollars. And this company is one of the leading airport designers in the world, Leading Edge. As I mean, they're so advanced that China had to get them to build their airport in the sea. And they offered to do this for us for $250,000 US dollars. Put the road in, even the road that's going in there. The people gave us 40 feet right of way. So this was ready to go before Gerald's was built. And you know, you have to tell it like it is. We were at a meeting, we were invited to a meeting at the Viewpoint Hotel to discuss this runway at Old Kwa, or to discuss the runways, airports, or what have you, in general.
What year was that, sir?
I don't quite remember, but it was before the airport was even built, all right? And the CRM group went, who was Jim Bass, Cedric Osborne, Hubert Buffon was there, Labour Speaks, and myself, and somehow I think that Vernon White was there also. And in the height of the meeting, when we're asking the different people and the people who came from London about airports and things like that, begging them not to build this airport at Gerald because it's no use to Montserrat. It's not going to help us in any way. We are begging them and telling them not to do it. Please, let us go to Old Kwa. We will have a longer airport than Gerald. People can fly in their private jets, can fly in any time. Leah can land. We can get, and this will help Montserrat to boost itself. Nigel Harris got up and said, the airport is just right. This will enable him to use his planes to fly everybody in and out of Montserrat. And believe it or not, meeting ended. The airport was built for Nigel Harris. And you can ask any one of these names that I
Mr. Alves,
found.
just one question, just for clarification. You said they invited us to the airport.
To the meeting.
To the meeting, sorry. Who was it, just for clarification, who was it that invited you to the meeting?
The committee that came from England and so forth.
Okay, so the committee and the other names you mentioned.
I don't know exactly. Diffid was there. Diffid and the others.
Diffid was there.
Diffid, yes.
Okay, and
It's 2001, this drawing.
I'm also looking at the drawing that you submitted. I see it says Government of Montserrat on it. One of the names listed on it is Government of Montserrat. Now, just for clarity, was Government of Montserrat represented at that meeting?
Yes, other people were there.
Are you able to be a little more precise?
I can't remember
as to...
all who were there, but Jim Bass has it in writing, everything.
Okay.
Would you be so kind, since you're a member of the committee, and ask Mr. Bass to submit? If he still has it,
Yeah,
we'd be grateful
he's
to.
off island and we'll be back in about a week and a half.
Okay, so if we can have what he has in writing, that
Yes,
would help
he's-
us to understand.
He's now in Boston, meeting with people to get donations to do the preliminaries for that job.
So CRM is still interested in
Yes,
advancing.
very interested, because we know that we need a runway, and Britain will never ever build us the other runway. We know that.
So
We
this
have to do it ourselves.
This is an initiative by a voluntary group of
Voluntary group,
persons
yes.
who is concerned about the redevelopment of Montserrat.
Redevelopment of Montserrat.
Mr. Al, just a quick question. You may not be able to provide a response, but do you, based on the plan and the discussions that were undertaken, I know it was many years ago, are you able to give this committee an idea as to the length of time it would take for that new runway to be constructed, completed, ready for use?
If we get the road in there, I can do that in nine months. Have it ready in 9 months.
9 months to do everything required, preparing
No, I don't mean black topping and paving and anything like that. Have the runway strip ready in 9 months.
Right. That is what I'm seeking clarification on. Apart from the preliminary background work, preparation of documentation, identifying a company to construct it, I was asking for an estimated time period for the construction of that runway, from acquiring the land to building
The land don't
completion.
have to be acquired. It's already granted.
So it's registered to whom?
All the landowners have already signed an agreement that we can use the land for the airport and for the road, for the right of way, everything. It's already signed. All the landowners.
I just want you to appreciate that without delving too much into land issues and land ownership, I'm just trying to get you to appreciate that they may have said that, you may use our land, but what conveys the permission to use that? Is it a lease? Is the intention to transfer it to, who is it going to be registered to?
All the documents is being done by Lawyer Allen already. So we have permission to do it.
Okay.
You have questions? We want to thank you for sharing this with us, because what you are providing for the committee to consider are options. And as the committee said, access is an issue, and here is a group of persons. If you can convey to your grouping, we'd want to have a written submission of what you have done thus far, what you plan to do, and we can add that to the report for consideration, especially since Mr. Bass is not around, because that, as I said, would give us an option that your group, as private citizens, are offering to the government of Montserrat. And as we said,
I would say not to the government of Montserrat, but to the people of Montserrat.
Thank you for the correction. Well said. To the people of Montserrat. So at this point, what the committee would wish to have, like I said, is the submission from Mr. Bass outlining your plans, what you have done before, and we can consider that. And if we deem it necessary, then we can have further discussions with Mr. Bass or yourselves on the matter.
Well, as soon as he gets back, I will inform him what's happening here.
Yes.
So all I want to speak about today is just access. And the seaport is access. And before the volcano, we did not have any ferry going back and forth to Ontario. All we had was the airport. Of course, ships used to bring cargo back and forth from Ontario or wherever, but we had no ferry. And I think if we get a proper airport, or proper, let me say a runway. I'm not saying an airport, because airport is everything. It's just a runway we need, a runway. A friend of mine told me that he was in St. Lucia some time ago when they built this jet port, and the terminal building that they had was some containers just put together. And when he went back there a few years later, the terminal building that he saw was just alarming. Things are done one at a time. It's one step at a time. We can't get everything at once. But what we need is just a runway. We need a runway. Without that, we're doomed. No matter what people say about, oh, we can get planes to fly 11 people in and special planes to land at Gerald's, that should be out of the question completely. It's no good. We have to get a runway, or we're going to go down and down, and I mean, the whole world can see. Montserrat is going down and down. Everybody's leaving. They're down because we're not living up to our standard. You can even hear on the radio and TV, they want to know what happened to Montserrat. Why are they like this? What happened? When they were way up there, look where they are now.
Question. Are you suggesting that with the airstrip you recommend that we would not need to have a ferry?
If that airport is built, no, we wouldn't. We never had any before. We wouldn't need any ferry. We have a runway. Liat can start coming in. That's like what used to happen before. People can fly in their private planes, can fly in their private jets. People want to see what's happening in Montserrat. Like I explained to you, that the Disney Cruise Line people had to leave their jet in Tortola and charter two other flights to get into Montserrat.
May I then ask you, what then if day trippers in numbers like 200 to 300 wanted to come to visit Montserrat, day tours, like they do in some other islands?
Yeah,
how would you address that?
Was that happening in the past, before the volcano?
We didn't have a volcano for people to come and see. We didn't have that attractive site.
Good.
I'm just asking the question. I'm not trying to debate you.
Okay.
The question is, do you see any need at all for a ferry while having an airport of the size that you suggest?
What I'm saying is, we did not have a ferry before the volcano.
Okay.
It would be nice for us to have a ferry, yes, because my other topic was the ferry. If one is needed, I can provide one. So it will be needed now. But if you have an airport where you're getting Liat to come in two flights a day, carrying 50 people each ship, that's 100 people coming in morning and afternoon. 300 people Liat make a special flight. People used to come here before when there was no ferry on Liat, carrying 40-something people, and Liat make an extra trip and carry 40-something more. People come to watch cricket. People come for Christmas without any ferry. And tourists come in and Liat bring them down, plane load, and this used to happen. So a ferry was not needed then. Why would it be needed if we get a substantial runway? Would not be needed.
My last question, if you don't mind. I know you are a man involved in infrastructure, construction, and the like. What are your views of the project, the port project, that is presently taking place from the private sector point of view?
That's a headache or heartache. The company idea came in here when Disney Cruise Lines was supposed.
You've given us some documents, and this says consultancy services for the design and project supervision of the Montserrat Port Development Project, and that's March 2018. Okay? You are leaving these with us as well?
Yes, you can have
Okay, these are for us.
But then it is to tell you while we're there, you can see the pictures. The Disney Cruise Line wanted to come here more than anything. So they already had designers here with me sketching what had to be done here on Montserrat for them to come in. And they didn't come only just to build a port. They were coming to build a town, everything. And what happened is what you see there is a sketch of what they wanted to do. You see how they have the breakwater. Look at the first page I gave you, ma'am. No.
This one?
No, that one. You see the breakwater there? Yes. Look at the breakwater out on the point. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what they're saying, because they're the ones who do all the docks in the Caribbean, Bahamas, and Lucia, Antigua, and Thomas, and the designer, Tortola, they're the ones who design, they know all the depth sounding throughout the whole Caribbean, that they're the ones who do all this, that Jamaica, Port Falmouth, they did that. So they know what they're saying, and all that is in the leaf that I gave you there, showing you what they've done before and so forth, right? And they are the ones who is saying that without that breakwater, nothing can be built in Little Bay that would stay there. You see, look at the breakwater.
Yes, we see.
When you put
that's
that
the highlighted yellow.
Right, it calms the entire harbor inside there. Okay? Everything is calm. Without that, when the North Sea come in, it will remove anything you put there. So in order to get the material to make that breakwater, that other page will show you where they want to cut that whole hill down, cut it off, and use that material to build the breakwater out and leave it at a standard where you can have lands on top of it to build properties, houses, or what have you. It's going to be taken off. Of course, I don't know if you've ever been to St. Thomas and see the airport that we did out in the sea. We cut 2 hills down and we put the airport out there in the sea, 90 feet of water. Perfect.
Mr. Isles, just for some context, and because we're broadcasting, in response to Mr. Romeo's question, you gave us an expression of interest and some images of the port, an expression of interest by Idea International Projects Limited.
Yes.
This is an expression of interest for the construction of Port Little Bay.
Yeah. And that was sent. I carried that to the Public Works Department years ago and left it with them. They also emailed that up to Barbados at the headquarters and never get a response.
When you said you took it to the port, are we speaking, to the Public Works, yeah. Ministry of Homes and Works, are we speaking of your submission being in relation to a tender for an expression of interest to construct the port?
Whether it was time for a tender or not, we were showing them what we can do.
Okay, so...
Are you speaking about the possibilities?
Yes, the possibilities that is there.
When you say we, you mean...
The company.
Including yourself?
Yes.
So you're part of Idea International Project?
Yes.
Okay. Just also for clarity, you submitted 2 separate renderings. They are part of the expression of interest that were submitted by Idea International.
Yeah, the first one. The other one, let me see here. Pass it.
Sorry, can you...
Yeah.
Can you just
label us one of a pen?
No. Well, can you see?
At the back. So no,
this is Idea. That is Idea's plan. This is not.
Okay.
This is to show you what this I got. It's just to show you what a port can do. This was known to be the safest port in the world at its time. It's in Rome. It was built by King Herod. And when this had to be repaired at any time. It is the company idea who they got to come to restore this port, to show you how powerful this company is. Okay, but this was done by King Herod. He turned a fishing village into a city, and the port that was the safest port in the world. It's just a sketch just to show you what can happen.
So this was submitted by IDEA to support its expression of interest?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to give this back to you so you can just use it, point out, just do a little pointing, explain to us what is happening in the image. And it's also for the purposes of those who are listening.
Well, if you
probably compared to what's happening now as well.
Okay, if you turn one page there, you will see where the cutting, turn again, let me show you which one. One of them that has, again. Right, you see how it's done there? Now all that whole hill has been taken off. You see it's down flat? Look at this, see it's flat. So on top of there, on top of there you can build anything. And of course you can see where they have the marina. But the marina goes back with the fisherman's wharf, and everything is already there designed. The little semi-beach down to Little Bay would no longer be there. So a road will be cut from there, across the hill, and down to the white sand beach over at Rendezvous, for everybody to use the white sand beach. Because no, the beach, that little rocky beach, that would be where the marina would be, and the fisherman wharf would be there. That's what it would be designed. You see the marina?
Are you talking about next to the port?
Next to the current jetty. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, across the height.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. So we would have a beautiful white sand beach over to Rendezvous, where everybody goes, and you can drive right over the hill, and there would be a nice road to take you. All that was designed, there is what is designed to be done. But, like I said, IDEA never got a response from anybody concerning that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Als, for sharing.
So that's the
on
port.
Behalf, you have something else? You spoke about the one where we have that.
Oh yeah, here we
spoke
have.
about the port, we have that.
Here we have. In case that a ferry is needed.
Okay, you have another option? Yes.
We intend to get you ferries that
And who are we this time? We are talking about CRM?
Selsie.
This is Selsie now?
Yeah.
You're speaking Selsie, which is, okay. And tell us,
Selsie Limited.
Limited. And you're the CEO?
Yes.
For Selsie Limited, is that correct?
Intend to get these ferries that I'm showing you there are being made constantly. The company stopped during the virus, and they have started again to make ferries. They just constantly make them. And assuming that you need a ferry now, they might have one that is making it that nobody ordered. So it might say take her 6 months to finish. So they finish it for you. But what the people who is back in Selsie is saying...
Can I just clarify? And this option that you're suggesting to the committee is when Montserrat will purchase a ferry
CRM will purchase.
CRM would purchase this.
No, I'm sorry. Selsie.
Selsie will purchase
the ferry.
Okay.
Yes. And then, but what Selsie colleagues want to know is if they're going to have 4 years subsidized, if subsidy, before they can order the ferry. There must be a subsidy for at least 4 years. And the ferry can be built with anything that the government wants on it. Anything at all, they will build. but they build them all the time. Just to show you different, they have different styles. Yeah.
And I'm asking, bearing in mind that you're Selsie,
Yeah.
and you're submitting a recommendation for or suggestion for a ferry provided by Selsie. Now, what the committee would like to know, what is it that this proposed ferry service offers above other potential ferry services? Why is this the ideal ferry service solution?
Well, let me say it would not require anything more than what the Jade Son was getting.
I'm sorry, I'm going to need some clarity.
The ferry
there.
they would not require anything more or less than what the Jade Son was getting. Maybe the price might go up a bit or down a bit, you never can tell, depending on what the cost of the vessel, but we would operate the same way.
And Selsie Limited would manage this ferry?
Oh, yes. Of course, there are other designs that you can see too, but I just brought two to show you what the company builds. And
Have Selsie ever discussed this with the government? This particular proposal that you're putting before us?
no.
And the expectation is that this will go a long way in improving access to Montserrat. Because if you recall, we're here to discuss access issues with
yes. So
a view
everything
to...
I've spoken about here today, it is for access. Even with the Bramble Airport to clean that up. And if these people are going to clean up Bramble, it's a winner for us. And then we have the runway there. If we're going to do Old Qua also for the runway there, but the government wouldn't have anything to do with it. It's we the people who will be doing the Old Qua, and we can do it. No, I'm leaving this with you.
Okay, please tell us what it is.
It's the Bramble Airport.
This is the Bramble Airport?
Yes.
So is that an image, a current image of
What
what Bramble Airport
is
looks like?
now? Yes.
Okay.
Or you want to see another image of what it used to, how it was? Let me see here. Okay. If you can give me a copy, you can keep these and make copies and give me back whenever. And yes, see what Bramble is right there. See the difference?
We will make copies and return.
Here's the other one.
What year was the images taken?
I'm not sure, my dear. I'm my lady, sorry. whenever. You're going to be, you're going to keep there a copy of the report?
Copy of this one. You want it back to this what you want?
No. How about the runway at the old choir? You're going to keep that?
This one?
Yes.
Want this little copy? I will send this one to you. It's your only copy. If you don't want to have your only copy.
Huh?
You can always make a copy.
Okay, if you want to do that, you can copy and.
Yes, make a copy.
Yes. Whenever. So I do hope that my presence here have helped in some way to put you on the right foot with the access, because it's like I said, it's lunchtime, and like I can swear on the bell that Britain would never ever build us another runway on Montserrat.
Strong one, but
We have to build ourselves.
you're speaking to the committee, and we would record what you have shared with us, Mr. Selsie, on behalf of yourself as Selsie Limited, and also the Committee for the Redevelopment of Montserrat. Like I said, we would welcome a submission, a written submission from the committee, and should we need any other further explanation, we can always ask for a meeting to explain further. But at this stage, we ask for a written submission from the committee. Okay, so thanks again very much
Right.
for sharing your views, your suggestions, options, opportunities, and
There are lots of things happening out there.
yes,
Lots of things happening. And when I tell you that Royal Cruise, then you're going to be spending $5 billion in St. Thomas.
And how long you have been in business, Mr. Selsie? We don't want about 30 years. Okay. So once again, on behalf of the committee, I want to thank you for volunteering to come and sharing with us, both on your own behalf and on behalf of the CRM. And we look forward to receiving that written submission. And please let Mr. Bass know, and Mr. Bass, if you're listening, he will hear us. I'm sure if he's in a position to listen, he would be listening as well.
Right.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for having me.
You're welcome, sir.
All the best.
Thank you, sir. To our listeners, both here and abroad, we are going to adjourn as to what we refer to in the legal term as sine die, and that is because we are back in Parliament tomorrow. We started the sitting on Friday. We were unable to finish, and the whole is greater than the part, and so this committee will defer to Parliament, and as a result of that, we would need to reschedule our witnesses. Once we have done that and our new timetable is established, we will make public announcements on the radio and also on the Facebook page of the Legislative Assembly's office, the legislature, and so to inform our witnesses, we will write to them or we will telephone, but also our viewers and our listeners on Radio Montserrat who have given up their time to participate in this exercise. Once again, thank you so very much for sharing with us, and as soon as we have organized our new timetable, we will ensure that that is shared with you, the public, both here and abroad, via Radio Montserrat, and if possible, some social media outlets, as well as the Facebook page for the Legislative Assembly. Thank you Thank you. Thank you. And to our witnesses who have gone before, I want to especially again thank you for giving of your time and rearranging your schedules. Thank you.